Let's go! Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a ball game, today. The fans are out to get a ticket or two. From Walla Walla, Washington to Kalamazoo. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Tuesday, April 16th. Hope you did your taxes. I did mine months ago. I'm one of those who does his taxes like in February if I can. So I'm going to cut to the chase here just because I have a lot to talk about. I'm trying not to ramble, and I wanted to get your opinion on a few things. So I have been sitting here. I'm a philosophical person, and I work on my card collection a lot. I think you guys know that. And every so often I get into this term or want to answer this question: what makes a card collection great? And I'm sure you've heard it all 1,000 times, and you might even be asking yourself that. Now, while I always appreciate my collection, I always say my collection is pretty good, I still like to think about my collection, how to make my collection better. And I'm sure that you ask yourself that question too. Now, if you ask 10 different collectors, you're going to get some similarities, but you're honestly going to get 10 different answers. Some people will say, oh, Hall of Fame cards should be included. Oh, there should be some, you should have plenty of vintage. You should have lots of sets. And you might get someone, a modern collector, say you should have lots of one of one cards. Something that I still don't know what they really are, even though it's obvious it says one of one. When I was a kid, my definition of a great collection was that I wanted every Topps card from 1951 to 1980. That was honestly my definition, without thinking about anything else. In the 90s, I was a little older. I remember I thought the definition of a great collection was having every baseball card from 1951. Again, I'm excluding everything before 1951. I thought having every card from 1951 through present day, I thought that was the definition of a great card collection. Well, obviously, I'm a lot older now, and I still ask myself this question all the time. And when I see a YouTube video or an article in some online article defining what a great card collection is, I have to read it. I still don't get my answer. Sometimes I get a note or two that will work for me, so to speak. But I still ask, what makes a great card collection? I watch YouTube videos, and admittedly, I've taken a little from this collector, a little from that collector, a little from this collector, and incorporated it, say that 3 times, into my own collection, including my own definition. But I still have that answer, and so, or I still have that question about what makes a collection great. And I came up with a little criteria of my own, and I'm looking at notes right now, so you're going to notice I'm looking in a certain direction. I created my own criteria for my collection of what makes a collection great. It doesn't have to be yours though, because we all have different definitions of what makes a card collection great. I personally really don't collect football, basketball, or hockey. I do have some of those cards, but to say I'm a collector of those, I think I have 3 football cards and a couple of hockey sets, and I have 4 basketball cards. I don't say that makes me a collector. It makes me someone who appreciates hockey, basketball, and football. But there are people out there that have incredible collection. So it doesn't just have to be baseball. But in my case, it is baseball. So personally, what I want for my collection is to be a history of baseball through baseball cards. I achieve that primarily through my Dodger card collection. As I've mentioned to you, I have three facets of my collection. I am a Dodger card collector. When I'm talking, I have every Dodger baseball card from 1927 through present day, with the exclusion of the 52 Topps high numbers and a 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson. I have all the base cards, so to speak. Does it mean I have all these regional sets? No. Does it mean I have all these LA police cards or food sets? No. I have a lot of or not a lot. I have a card from a lot of sets, but I do feel that my collection is defined primarily through my Dodger sets. I am also a set builder. I mentioned to you I have sets from every decade from 1940 through present day. Does that make my collection great? I don't know. I'm my own worst critic. And I also have some Hall of Fame cards that are graded on display walls throughout my room and in the hallway. Does it make my collection great? I don't know. There are people who have hundreds or thousands of more graded cards than I do. But basically, like I say, I like to try to make my collection a history of baseball through baseball cards. So in that regards, I think I'm accomplishing my goal. My collection, my personal goal is to have cards from all eras. That might not suit you. Like I said, some of you might collect basketball cards only. Some of you might only collect pre-war cards. I've seen a few of you out there. Some of you might only collect modern cards, and that's not my cup of tea, but if that's what you like, that's great. So, but for me, I try to encompass as many eras as I can. Am I accomplishing that? I would say after 1989, my modern cards are 99.999% Dodger cards. So I don't have. I've got a couple of sets, but like I said, I don't even have a Shohei Ohtani card. I don't have a lot of today. I don't have an Acuna card or a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. card. If I buy I still need to buy a baseball set from the 2020 decade. So if I do that, then I have those guys. But I have pre-war. I have my play ball set, my 41 play ball set. I have some Gaudies. I have some strip cards. I have some Cracker Jack cards. I have some tobacco cards. I don't have Babe Ruth. I don't have Ty Cobb. I don't have Lou Gehrig. Don't have Walter Johnson or Cy Young or Christy Mathewson. Does that make my collection non-great? That's up for you to decide. We all have different definitions. One thing I would say about my collection is I collect cards that I want, not you. There are some great collections out there, and if I see that let's say this, I don't see anyone online doing this, but I like the Cracker Jack cards. If somebody was gonna influence me to buy Cracker Jack cards, I highly doubt that's going to happen just because those cards are so bloody expensive. If you're only collecting T206 cards or T205 gold border cards, you're not going to probably change my mind into buying a whole bunch. Sure, I'll buy a few, but to start a set, no. If you're thinking of buying only Hostess cards from the 70s or Kellogg's cards from the 70s, I have some. I have my Dodger cards from those eras, from those sets, but I don't want a whole set. So, but I buy what I want. So that's something you need to think about when you're collecting your cards. If you're trying to make my card collection great, don't say, well, Rick Acosta has a bunch of 1941 play ball cards and a bunch of Dodger cards. And I hate the Dodgers, but I'm going to buy them anyway. If you do that, I wouldn't want anyone to do that. And I don't do that. So I buy cards that I want in my collection. Along the same lines, be focused. I know a collector who is... I have a collector who actually reaches out to me every couple of months. And this is going back to the previous point about buying cards that you want, not someone else. He always says to me, I'm surprised that you don't have a Babe Ruth card in your collection or a 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson to add to your Dodger collection. You should really go after those. And I honestly have no interest. If I had money, yes, but I don't have that type of money. So, like Babe Ruth is not on my radar. And a lot of you are saying, wow, he should be. And I go, you know what? Honestly, if I had the money to buy a really nice baseball card, what would be the card I would buy? Not lying to you guys. I want, if instead of going out and buying a 33 or a 33 Gowdy Ruth card or some strip card of Babe Ruth, I want a 1914 or a 1915 Cracker Jack Ty Cobb. That's the card I want. And if I got $40,000 to spend on a card, if mom says to me, here, honey, here's $40,000, you're only allowed to buy a baseball card, I'm going to go buy that card. I'm going to buy a Ty Cobb card because it's what I want, not because somebody says I should have a Babe Ruth card or a Topps Jackie Robinson card, 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson in my collection. So, like, again, go back to what you want. Be focused. I'm focused on several projects. I always tell them, you guys, I'm currently working on a 1963 Topps set. I'm working on a 1968 Topps set. I've been working on 1961 Topps high numbers, the All-Star cards. Maybe down the road, I'll look at some 50 Bowmans. And then I always look at buying, right now especially, I'm looking at buying 33 and 34 Gowdies. So, be focused. Have special projects. I had a coworker who started collecting cards, and he says, you have to come over and come look at my vintage card collection. I go, okay, what, I came over, and he had a lot of 1986, 1987, 1988 cards, which really aren't my cup of tea, but they might be of yours. And I go, oh, these are nice. Why did you buy them? And he was like, because Rick Honeycutt's the Dodger pitching coach, and he had cards that era, and Oral Hershiser's the Dodger baseball announcer, and I wanted some of his cards, and I thought it was interesting, but it wasn't for me. But he said he wanted to get into vintage collecting, and I go, I thought you were going to buy vintage cards, and he goes, aren't these vintage? And I'm like, well, yeah, they're modern vintage, so we'll call it that. But I didn't have the heart to say, well, they're actually referred to as junk wax cards, which offends a lot of people, I know. But I would just say, be focused on your cards. Have good projects, good focused projects that makes your collection just it shows people you're focused and that you're thoughtful. Does your collection have great cards? I have great cards in my collection. As I mentioned, I don't have Babe Ruth. I don't have Lou Gehrig. Does that make my collection worse? There are days I say yes. There are days I'm like, I don't care. But having great players doesn't mean you have to have Babe Ruth. It could be Steve Carlton. It could be Mike Trout. It could be George Brett. It could be Vlad Guerrero Sr. I mean, so remind yourself that, you might say, yeah, I have great players. It's not Babe Ruth, but it's Jim Palmer, and it's Nolan Ryan, and it's Greg Maddux. So, yeah, there's different definitions of having great players in collection. Bottom line for me is to have a great baseball collection, it has to define your theme, my theme. So I have a theme. Can I really state what it is? I always say I have 3 facets: Dodger cards, sets, and Hall of Famers. You have a different theme. Some of you might have themes that are only 50 through 80 baseball, or 90 or up. Like, I used to love Upper Deck baseball cards. You might say, well, I like Upper Deck cards. Go for it. If that's what makes your collection great, go for it. So bottom line, and I'm not giving you an answer, but this is just me thinking out loud and talking for YouTube, which I've already spoken way too long. There are different definitions of greatness. There isn't going to be just one. Just remember, make your collection as great as you want it to be, not others. And someone once said, I saw it once on someone's video, just make your collection as great as you can be, but as great as you want it. John Newman, I always remember, he says, you are the CFO or the CEO or the COO of your baseball card collection. So make it yours. Don't make it someone else's. All right, I've rambled. 14 minutes. I'm on too long. One day, I promise you, you're going to see someone that we highly respect in this community. He has agreed. I'm not going to name names. He's agreed to appear on I'm going to start a podcast at some point this year, so I'm throwing it out there. We're going to have a discussion about great baseball card collections and what defines a great baseball collection. And this person I highly admire and highly respect, and I think we're going to have a really good discussion. I just need to come up with some more thoughts for him so we can sit down and talk about it and hopefully share it with all of you one day. All right, so today I'm going to share with you my 1961 Topps All-Star high number cards. Tabletop display. Let's quit BSing and take a look at some cards, guys. Thanks. All right, so we're going to start off here with the managers, and the first manager is Paul Richards. This actually should have been Casey Stengel, but Stengel was let go after the 1960 season, and for some reason Topps chose not to make a card of him, so they replaced him with Paul Richards of the Baltimore Orioles. And there's Danny Murtaugh, manager of the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates at that point. Move over to the first basemen. We got Moose Skowron and Frank Herrera of the Phillies. Here's a guy I think who only had like 1 or 2 good years in the majors. I'm not sure. Skipping over to second base, we got the Hall of Famers. Nellie Fox, Bill Mazeroski. Slide down to the second row. Brooks Robinson, Ken Boyer. Then we move over to short. We got 2 more Hall of Famers, both from Chicago. Luis Aparicio and Ernie Banks. Then we move to the outfield, and the outfield's when things get pretty serious here, in my opinion. Got Roger Maris and Hank Aaron in right field. Slide down to the next row. Center field, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays. And then in left, it's Al Kaline and Frank Robinson. Trying to combine names here. So Kaline and Robinson. Now we got catchers, Earl Batty and Del Crandall. And our last, but definitely not least row, got the pitchers. Right-handed pitchers are Jim Perry and Bob Friend. And last but not least, 2 more Hall of Famers, left-handed pitchers, Whitey Ford and Warren Spahn. So that is a really quick look at the 1961 Topps All-Stars. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
It's a beautiful day for